3 United States presidents have died on July 4th, the national holiday Independence Day. Second President, John Adams, third, Thomas Jefferson, and fifth, James Monroe. The first Independence Day was celebrated on July 4th, 1776, in honor of the ratification of the Declaration of Independence. 50 years later, not one but two presidents would die. In 1826, John Adams was 90 years old. This was exceptionally old, not only for the life expectancy of the time, but even for a founding father. Out of the 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence, the average life expectancy was 66. Despite his age, it's said that just a year prior, Adams had been in relatively good health. Adams was known for being jealous, vain, and disagreeable. While considered well-meaning and selflessly devoted to his country, he made many enemies, but in his later years, he tried to make amends with several of them. One of these was Thomas Jefferson. Both signers of the Declaration of Independence, the two had been close allies and friends. Adams even considered Jefferson to have been just as much of a father to his son John Quincy as he was. However, over the years, they became enemies, as they developed different ideas on what should be the nation's principles. They would battle for the presidency in 1796, and then rematch in 1800. After Jefferson's victory in 1800, the two wouldn't converse for nearly 12 years. In 1812, Adams made an attempt to resume correspondence with Jefferson. Over the next 14 years, they corresponded through a total of 158 letters. Jefferson was 7 years younger than Adams, but by 1826, he had long been in poor health. Likely not helping were the stresses in his personal life. Most of all was the mounting debt that he realized would be left to his children. Jefferson made no mention of these woes in his letters to Adams. At approximately 6:20 p.m. on July 4, 1826, John Adams died. His last words were, quote, "Thomas Jefferson survives." Unknown to Adams, Jefferson had died just hours earlier. John Adams' son, John Quincy Adams, was president at the time. He remarked that the coincidence of their deaths on the national anniversary was visible and palpable remarks of divine favor. 5 years later, on July 4, 1831, fifth President James Monroe would die. At age 73, Monroe died from tuberculosis and heart failure. Though his home was in Virginia, he died in New York. He had been visiting his daughter following the deaths of his wife and son-in-law the previous year. Monroe's last words are often cited as, quote, "I regret that I should leave this world without again beholding him." The him was fellow president and founding father James Madison. In truth, his final words are unknown, but it's possible they were in regards to Madison. The two had maintained a decades-long friendship, something that wasn't interrupted even as they fought on opposite sides of heated political battles. In fact, earlier that year in April, Monroe wrote a letter to Madison, lamenting that they wouldn't be able to meet one more time. To date, Monroe has been the last president to die on the holiday. To support regular uploads from this channel, consider subscribing and donating to be syndicated on Patreon. Donations from $2 to $15 a month help towards more frequent uploads. Patreon link in the description below.